Christian Wolff was never like the other kids. From his very first days, his family could tell something was different. He barely spoke, he avoided people, and he could spend hours completely alone. But he also noticed things nobody else did. Tiny details, patterns, numbers. Worried, his parents took him to specialists who diagnosed him with autism spectrum disorder. The doctors warned that life would be difficult for him, that he'd need patience, structure, and constant support. His mother agreed completely. She wanted him raised somewhere safe, surrounded by people who understood him. His father saw it differently. A former military man, he didn't believe the world would ever go easy on his son just because he was different. So instead of shielding Christian, he decided to forge him into someone unbreakable. The father started dragging young Christian to military-style training camps, drilling him in self-defense, teaching him to face fear instead of running from it. Life became an endless cycle of discipline and pressure. At school, other kids mocked him for being different, but his father refused to step in, always repeating the same line. The real world is far crueler than any classroom, and Christian needed to learn to survive it alone. Christian had a younger brother, Braxton. The two couldn't have been more different. Braxton was outgoing, easy with people, everything Christian wasn't. But despite that, the brothers were close, and Braxton did everything he could to support him. Tension grew inside the house. Christian's mother believed her husband was pushing their son too hard, that the constant pressure would break him rather than help him. But the father stood firm, certain that one day Christian would thank him for it. Years of that brutal training shaped Christian into someone unlike anyone around him. His mind became terrifyingly sharp. He could scan thousands of numbers and spot a single error in seconds, memorize details most people would never even register. But there was another side to him now. A side almost nobody knew existed. In the present day, Christian lives under an ordinary name in a quiet town, working out of a small accounting office. To anyone watching, he's just a boring, low-key numbers guy stuck in a routine life. The truth is very different. Christian Wolff isn't just an accountant. He's one of the most dangerous men you could ever cross paths with. While most accountants handle taxes and payroll, Christian works for crime lords, arms dealers, and international cartels, anyone hiding billions and needing someone to make the numbers disappear cleanly. Organizations track him down by name alone. We find him inside the headquarters of one such criminal organization, surrounded by armed men and hardened criminals. Yet nobody dares disrespect him. His reputation alone is enough to keep people afraid. Within hours, he uncovers millions of dollars missing from the group's records, money that entire teams of accountants had failed to trace for years. The organization's leader is stunned by his skill and pays him a fortune, but every job like this only draws the United States government a little closer to him. Elsewhere, a veteran Treasury agent named Ray King has spent years chasing down major criminals, always hearing whispers about a mysterious accountant who appears out of nowhere and vanishes without a trace. Every time a criminal falls into the government's hands, this same fingerprint shows up behind it, but nobody knows his name, his face, or where to find him. Determined to crack the case, King assigns his sharpest analyst, Mary Beth Medina, to the investigation, warning her that whoever they're chasing is far more dangerous than she can imagine. Around the same time, Christian takes on a job that looks completely legitimate. A massive tech company hires him to audit their books after a young in-house accountant, Dana Cummings, spots strange financial discrepancies. Christian arrives, sits down with the files, and immediately discovers tens of millions of dollars missing with no explanation. And the closer he gets to the truth, the more nervous someone inside the company becomes. Christian spends his days buried in stacks of paperwork, barely speaking to anyone while the rest of the staff quietly wonder about the strange man who never leaves his desk. What they don't realize is that his mind is working at incredible speed. Every number that crosses his eyes turns into a complete picture in his head. Within hours, he's mapped out an entire web of transactions spanning years and discovers this isn't a simple accounting mistake. Someone inside the company has been stealing millions and doing it very carefully. Dana is fascinated watching him work, constantly checking the whiteboard covered in Christian's numbers and diagrams, amazed at how quickly he's uncovering things no one else ever could. Then, the very next morning, company leadership abruptly tells Christian his job is finished. They no longer need him to continue the investigation. It's baffling, considering they were the ones who brought him in to find the truth in the first place. When Christian pushes for an explanation, the answers he gets are vague and unconvincing. He starts to suspect something much bigger is being hidden. Meanwhile, in another location, a professional killer is preparing for his next job. Calm, expressionless, methodically gathering intelligence on his target. His first target turns out to be someone connected to the company's financial records. Within hours, the killing happens, clean and professional, without a single trace left behind. When Christian hears the news, he understands immediately. This isn't just embezzlement anymore. Someone is willing to kill to protect this secret, and anyone who gets close to the truth is now in danger. Ray King and his team keep pulling on new threads, and every lead points to the same mystery man, someone whose face nobody has ever seen, someone who works with the most dangerous criminals alive, someone whose real name is still unknown. Mary Beth eventually uncovers something huge. A long pattern of massive financial crimes stretching back years, each one connected to the same shadowy figure who appears briefly and then disappears completely. She starts building a profile, but every piece of information contradicts the last. One record says he's living in one state, another says he's dead. A third gives him an entirely different name. It's as if he's deliberately erasing himself from existence. Back at the company, Dana grows afraid after the murder of the employee tied to the case. She goes to Christian and asks him directly if her life is in danger. At first, he struggles to reassure her. Expressing emotion has never come easily to him, but he finally tells her she needs to be extremely careful in the coming days. Dana realizes he genuinely believes the danger is real. That same night, Christian returns home. From the outside, his house looks completely ordinary. Inside, it's something else entirely. A hidden vault stacked with weapons, millions of dollars in cash, rare artwork, and gold bars. This is the moment we realize Christian isn't just a genius with numbers. He's spent his entire life building a double existence. One life the world sees, another that nobody knows about. Suddenly, he hears something outside. In an instant, the quiet accountant transforms into a trained killer, moving through his own house like it's a battlefield. Gunfire erupts everywhere. The attackers came expecting to kill an unarmed accountant. They had no idea they'd just walked into the home of one of the most highly trained fighters alive. One by one, Christian takes them down with terrifying precision, using every inch of the house to his advantage. For the first time, we see the full truth. This isn't just a numbers genius. This is a complete killer. Afterward, Christian starts putting the pieces together. Whoever sent those attackers wasn't dealing with amateurs. They were well-equipped and knew disturbingly specific details about him. Someone with serious power and reach is behind all of this. The story pulls us back to Christian's childhood again, showing his father dragging both boys through training camps across the world, always pushing his older son to sharpen the one thing that set him apart. Christian's ability to focus like nobody else let him master marksmanship, hand-to-hand combat, and tactical thinking at a frightening pace. While other kids played outside, he was learning to strip and reassemble weapons in seconds, read body language, and predict an opponent's next move before they made it. Those years shaped him into someone entirely unlike anyone else. Back in the present, Dana is shaken by everything happening around her, especially once she realizes every victim so far is directly tied to the investigation she started. She reaches out to Christian because he's the only person who seems to understand the scale of the danger they're in. Walking home one night, Dana senses she's being followed. At first, she brushes it off as nerves until she notices a car trailing her the entire way. Panic sets in, and she rushes to get inside and lock the door. But the hitman is already there. Just as things are about to turn deadly, Christian arrives in time, and a brutal chase erupts. The killer fights to finish the job at any cost, while Christian fights to keep Dana alive. In the middle of the fight, Christian notices something unsettling about the way the killer moves. His stance, his aim, his entire fighting style feels strangely familiar, like he's seen it somewhere before. Meanwhile, the Treasury Department is closing in on the truth. Ray King finally reveals a secret he's kept buried for years. He tells Mary Beth that long ago he caught one of the most dangerous accountants working with organized crime. But instead of sending him to prison, he made a deal. In exchange for his freedom, the man would quietly feed the government information. Ever since, every major break they'd gotten on dangerous criminal networks had come from this same anonymous source. Mary Beth asks if this source is the same mysterious accountant they've been hunting. King tells her it's far more complicated than that, and hands her an old file. When she opens it, she finally sees the name, Christian Wolff. Suddenly, everything lines up. The hidden fortune, the fake identities, the disappearing act, the brilliance, even his ties to organized crime. At the same time, Christian finally uncovers the full truth inside the company. The person behind the stolen millions isn't some low-level employee. It's someone at the very top of the organization, someone willing to kill to keep the secret buried. So they make one final call to the hitman with one clear objective this time: eliminate both Christian and Dana and end the investigation for good. The confrontation Christian never saw coming finally happens. At first, it plays out like any other fight. But as it drags on, Christian senses something is deeply wrong. This killer isn't just skilled, he thinks the way Christian thinks. He moves the same way. It's like they trained in the exact same place. Then, the truth hits. The man standing in front of him isn't a stranger, and he isn't just a hired gun. It's Braxton, his own younger brother, gone for years without a word. For a moment, both men freeze, stunned by what they're seeing. Decades of separation flash by in seconds. But they're standing on opposite sides of a gunfight, and there's no time to process it. Braxton realizes the people who hired him used him and lied to him. Instead of finishing the job, he makes an unexpected choice. He turns to protect his brother instead. For the first time in years, the two of them fight side by side, and anyone standing against them doesn't stand a chance. Christian's mind for strategy combined with Braxton's combat experience makes them nearly impossible to stop. With the brothers now working together, the final battle turns violent and chaotic. Gunfire, pursuit, and a desperate final stand. But this time, Christian isn't fighting alone. The Treasury Department finally gets the last pieces of the puzzle it needed. Mary Beth understands the full picture. Despite everything, Christian has quietly been helping the government take down criminals far more dangerous than himself for years. Ray King ultimately decides to close the case in his own way, realizing that capturing Christian won't actually solve anything, and that letting him operate in his own strange way does more good than harm. At the company, the conspiracy finally collapses. The executive behind the embezzlement is fully exposed. Every hidden financial secret comes to light, and the company loses everything, all the money and protection they thought would save them. Afterward, Braxton and Christian sit together for the first time in years. It's an awkward, quiet moment. Neither of them is good with words or emotion, but it's clear they're both relieved to have found each other again. Braxton asks if there's anything Christian needs. Christian's answer is simple. He just wants his brother to call once in a while. Nothing more. Just a thread connecting them again after all the years they lost. Dana returns to her normal life after surviving everything that happened, but she'll never forget the mysterious man who turned her world upside down. As for Christian, he goes back to his routine. The small office, the numbers, the quiet he's always preferred. But this time, something has changed. His brother is back in his life, and the past that haunted him for so long finally starts to settle. In the very last scene, we see Christian back in his old routine, precise as ever, looking for all the world like nothing more than a dull, quiet accountant. But we know the truth now. He's a numbers genius and an elite fighter, a man who spent his entire life caught between two worlds, the world of law and the world of crime, and somehow, against all odds, found a way to survive both. And that's the full story of The Accountant, a film about identity, family, and the price of being different in a world that demands you fit in. If you enjoyed this recap, hit subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite movies, and let me know in the comments which film you